He thought he was alone in his Airbnb, until his phone camera revealed something glowing in the corner of the ceiling. What he found there made him leave the house immediately. Disclaimer: this story is inspired by real events, shared online. Names and identifying details have been changed to protect privacy. Staying in someone else's home can feel cozy and convenient, but sometimes you discover things you were never meant to see. And in this case, one small glowing light changed everything. Let's call him Ethan. Ethan had been traveling for work and decided to rent a small Airbnb house instead of staying in another hotel. The listing looked great. Quiet neighborhood, clean interior, cozy furniture. When he arrived that evening, everything looked exactly like the photos. The living room was simple but comfortable. Nothing seemed unusual, but sometimes the most unsettling discoveries happen in places that seem completely ordinary. Later that night, Ethan was relaxing in the living room scrolling through his phone. At one point he opened Facebook and started recording a short video to send to a few friends. Just a casual update about his trip. While recording, his phone camera briefly pointed toward the ceiling, and that's when he noticed something strange. On his phone screen, there was a tiny glowing dot in the corner where the wall met the ceiling, but when he looked up with his eyes, there was nothing there. That's the kind of moment where you pause and think, did I really just see that? Let's continue. So, Ethan tried pointing the phone toward the corner again. The glowing dot appeared once more. But the moment he lowered the phone and looked up normally, the corner looked completely empty. That's when an unsettling thought crossed his mind. Some cameras use infrared lights. Lights that human eyes can't see, but phone cameras can. And honestly, if you saw that in the middle of the night, your mind would probably go straight to the worst possible explanation too. What would you do at this point? Ignore it, or investigate further? Curiosity quickly turned into concern. Ethan moved the coffee chair beneath the corner of the ceiling. Then he carefully hopped on top of it so he could reach higher. It looked like a pretty and stable setup, but he needed to know what was up there. Slowly he climbed up and leaned closer to inspect the corner. At first, it just looked like part of the ceiling pane. Then he noticed it, a tiny black circle, perfectly placed where the wall met the ceiling. And once he saw it up close, there was no mistaking what it was. It was a small hidden camera, barely visible unless you were standing directly next to it. And surrounding the tiny lens were several small infrared LEDs, the same lights his phone camera had revealed. Ethan suddenly felt a chill run down his spine, because he remembered something. The day before, he had been walking around the house casually, sometimes wearing almost nothing. And if that camera had been recording, someone could have seen everything. Guys, that's the moment when a situation stops being weird and starts feeling deeply disturbing. Let's continue. Ethan climbed down from the chair quickly, but his balance shifted as he stepped down. The chair slid slightly. He lost his footing and fell awkwardly onto the floor. For a moment, he just lay there trying to catch his breath. Fortunately, the furniture was sturdy and nothing broke. After a few minutes, he managed to sit up again. The fall wasn't serious, but the camera discovery was enough to make him feel like he needed to leave immediately. Ethan grabbed the device and stepped outside the house before calling the police. When officers arrived, he explained what had happened and showed them the hidden camera he had found. Sometimes security cameras can legally exist in common areas. But there's an important rule: guests must be informed about them beforehand. And in Ethan's case, no cameras had been mentioned in the listing. Ethan packed his belongings that same night. He checked into a nearby hostel instead. Later, he contacted Airbnb support and explained the entire situation. He requested a refund and asked them to investigate the host. the host eventually messaged him. But instead of addressing the camera, they complained about parts of the ceiling being disturbed. And honestly, guys, that response probably made the situation feel even more suspicious. Stories like this raise an uncomfortable question. How many people stay in rental homes without ever checking for hidden cameras? Most hosts are honest, but this situation is a reminder that sometimes paying attention to small details can reveal something important. In Ethan's case, all it took was a tiny glowing light on a phone screen. Guys, do you think the host knew about the camera, or could someone else have installed it? Thank you for watching.